Hey guys, it's Mrs. Millicent. All right, I'm going to do a quick little video to talk about how loops and recursives are related, okay? We're going to look at two loops. I've kind of got my file set up here. I have it set up to do a scanner input to ask for a number, and then it'll do a countdown loop first. So here's my loop. It takes the number as in the parameter, okay, and it creates a string, starts at a 0, it takes a string and it starts at that number, prints the number in a space, and then prints every number after it. So if this is 5, it'll be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then when it finishes its loop, it'll print out blast off. Okay, so we'll have a nice little line of a countdown with a blast off at the end. Okay, and we're familiar with loops. Here's my string that I created before the loop. I run the loop and add on to the string, and then tack on the little blast off at the end of the string, and then return the string. Okay, so let's compile and run this, and we will do 5. So we have our countdown loop, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and blast off. Okay, well, we're going to rewrite this as a recursive. Okay, so I've already created my method signature here. I'm going to do another string. I'm calling this one countdown R for recursive as opposed to countdown L for loop. Okay, sorry, I just had to put this in as a little placeholder so I could, compile. All right, so what a recursive is going to have is a base case that will be the lowest possible value for the method, and it will stop the method. Okay, so for here, it's going to be an if statement. If num equals 0, we want method. We want the recursion to stop. So we're going to return blast off. Okay, because that's going to happen at the end. Okay. In the meantime, until num does equal 0, because remember, if we put in a 5 here, it's going to equal 5 first. So that's not going to happen. So when it does equal 5, what I want it to do is I want it to print that num. Then I want it to run countdown recursive again with the next smallest number. So countdown recursive with num minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to put my recursive, my call to my method inside this part of the return statement. Okay, so this is my base case. Okay, and again, that's the smallest value that my method is going to hold. Okay, and that will stop the recursion. Okay, this is my recursive case that will continue. That is the call to its own method. Okay, so recursive method simply calls itself. Okay. All right, let's see how this looks. I feel like I didn't put a lot of spacing in. Let's just run it and we'll fix our spacing. Okay, we'll enter in our 5. Oh, I forgot to do. I forgot to uncomment the code up here to run it. I'm trying to be a little more efficient with my videos and pre-doing some stuff. Okay, so let me run. I'll put a 5 in here. Okay, so there's the loop there's the countdown from my loop. So there's the countdown from my loop. It looked exactly how I wanted it. My recursive doesn't look like I want it to look like. Definitely, I think I need a space. So let's put a space between the number and then the call to the method again with 1 left. And you know what? I'm missing 0. So actually, when num equals 0, I still want it to do this. I still want it to come down and print 0 and blast off. So I'm going to change this to -1. Oops. Okay. That way, when if it starts at 5, then it'll run 4, and then it'll do 4 and run 3, and then 3 and run 2, and so forth. So when it gets down to 0, I want to print 0, and then it'll turn into -1, and then it'll stop. Okay, let's test. I'll do 6. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. So when I ran the loop, I knew I was going to get what I wanted because we knew the loop worked. And now we went ahead and duplicated the same output, but in our recursive method. Okay, so again, your recursive methods have to have a base case, that lowest possible value that will stop the recursion. Okay, and then the recursive case, which is the call to itself. Okay, and and we just got to keep going down. In the next video, we'll trace through these. Okay. All right, let's do one more. What do I do? Oh, sum of digits. Okay, I've got this sum um, L loop. Okay, so we're going to put in a number here, say 5. We're going to establish our sum, which is 0, and we're going to loop through. So we're going to go from 0 up to 5, and we're just going to keep adding. So 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, and then I'll return that sum. Okay, so let's see what this is going to give us first. Let me uncomment this before we turn it into a loop. So I'm just labeling my output, and there's my method call. Again, still using that same number we're going to input. Okay, my countdowns are going to run again, so we'll just kind of bleep over those. Let's do 8. Okay, so those are my countdowns. Here's my sum of digits loop. So 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is going to give me 36. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted this loop to do, or plus 0 also, right? Okay, so now let's recreate this in a recursive function, a recursive method. So there we go. I've got my sum R as opposed to sum L for loop. This is going to be my recursive sum. So again, I need that base case and I need that recursive case. Okay, so my base, let's see, will be if num. Now, do I need it to equal 0? Yeah, because 0 will be the stop. I don't want it to equal 1 because I want it to add 1 into the total. So we will do 0 here. Okay, so that will stop my recursion. And when I get 0, I just want to return 0. Okay, when I get down there. Oops. Okay, now what do I want to do with anything but 0? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I want to take the number 5 and I want to add to it the recursive method with the 1 value below it. Okay, so I want to take 5 and let it run the recursive method with 4 in here, which will give me 4. And then I'll get 5 plus 4, and then the 4 will run the 4 minus 1, which is 3, which it'll skip that, and it'll give me 3. So now I've got 5 plus 4 plus 3. So it'll keep doing that until it hits 0, then it returns 0. Okay, and then I'm good. All right, so yeah, we should be good. Let's try. Oh, let me uncomment up here. Sorry about that. Okay, let's compile. Let's do 10. Okay, so there are my countdown loops and my countdown recursive. So here's the sum of my digits loop, which gave me a sum of 55. So 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 and so forth will give me 55. And my recursion gave me the same thing. Okay, so I just want you to see how they're related. Every recursive method can be written as a loop. Okay, let me label some of my stuff down here. Here's my base case. And here's my recursive case. Again, a recursive method is a method that calls itself inside the method. Okay, you won't have to be responsible for writing this code, but you got to understand what it does, and we'll trace some code in the next video. Okay, so that's my little overview of how loops and recursive are related to each other. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video for tracing recursive methods. Okay.